Story Sell is a book about how we can incorporate all of the strategies and techniques that storytellers use, whether they're filmmakers or novelists or people like me who stand on stages and perform. We take all of those strategies and we bring it to business, whether it's marketing or sales or branding or leadership or keynotes or demos. All of those things can be made more memorable, more impactful, more effective for whoever's trying to sell a product or sell a service or convince people that they're right. It's just the idea that storytelling is an underutilized skill in business that can really enhance everything that you want to do and everything you want to accomplish in your business life.
What are your top 3 tips for crafting compelling stories that resonate with business audiences?
Well, I always tell people that the first thing we have to remember is that no one wants to hear anything you have to say unless you give them a reason to listen. And I think that's often forgotten in business. We assume that because we have an audience sitting in front of us, they're actually listening to us. When we know, having been in audiences ourselves, that it's very simple to tune someone out when they are not garnering our attention. So, keeping that in mind, I often say the first thing we have to keep in mind is we have to be entertaining at all times. And that doesn't necessarily mean funny or even suspenseful. It just means we need to bring value to the audience in some way. And storytelling and all the strategies wrapped within that craft, that's an excellent way to make our content entertaining no matter what we're doing. Basically, every time we open our mouths and there's an audience in front of us, and the audience can be one or 1,000 people, we should strive to be entertaining at all times, no matter what. So, keeping that in mind, the second thing we want to be thinking about in terms of those big strategies is that storytelling applies to everything we do in business, which means if we're building a pitch deck, we should be thinking about storytelling strategies in that pitch deck so that we're holding attention. If we're delivering a keynote at the Javits Center, we should be telling stories as a key part of that keynote. And if we're offering a demo to some service or some platform or some technology that we've created, we should absolutely be infusing all of that with storytelling at all times to guarantee that we're entertaining the audience, because we have to recognize at all times that no one wants to hear anything we have to say unless we give them a reason to say it, which is something I tell business people all the time. And I drive it home and I hope they believe me because I know it's absolutely true. And then keeping all that in mind, I guess the third and final tip that I would offer is that so many of the strategies that sort of incorporate a movie that we see, a book that we read, all of those strategies like suspense, surprise, humor, stakes, vulnerability, all of those are easily incorporated into the work business people do. And I do it every day, whether it's a company like Microsoft or it is a hardware store down the road, whichever kind of a client I'm working with, I'm constantly telling people that those simple strategies like create a little suspense, provide a little humor, surprise your audience in some way. If you're creating an advertisement campaign or a branding campaign, let's incorporate all of those things into them too, so that we can be different than everybody else, that we can stand out. So the good news is when you're watching a movie, you can quite literally be watching the strategies that a filmmaker uses and apply them to the selling of the broom or the selling of the technology platform or whatever you're sort of hoping people will come to you and buy and hand over some money. The same thing filmmakers use when putting together a movie are the same strategies we can use in business. And it's just a matter of learning what those strategies are and then deploying them in a way that is effective for businesses.
What do you most hope readers will take away from your book?
Telling a story primes your audience to like you, to believe in you, to trust in you, and to feel good about the world they're living in. That's the best thing a business person can ever have, to get their audience to really feel great about the message they're communicating. So it's not sort of a woo woo, add on. I can do it sometimes if I want to. It's a genuine tool that should be used by business people all over the world. We want to finish our advertisement, our branding campaign, our strategy, our marketing. We want to finish that and have people be thinking about us long after we've stopped talking. And the beauty is storytelling can accomplish that for you every single time.